All right, so in tonight's project, what I want to do is I want to upgrade my sandpaper storage. For my sandpaper, I have just been using one of my wife's wooden crates. So I just have this wooden crate, and a lot of my sandpaper discs are just sitting in a cardboard box that I've already had to tape together because it's already falling apart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a wooden box that's going to be roughly about 10 inches tall and about 18 inches wide. The reason I'm doing those specific measurements is I want to be able to fit it inside the shelving that I have here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have five 1-inch by 6-inch slots. And I'm gonna be able to put the 5-inch round discs inside each one of those slots. Now I'm gonna do, since it's 5 by 3, I'm gonna have 15 slots, but then I'm also gonna leave 2 inches down at the bottom so I can put some of the larger sheets or some of the sanding blocks that I have, or the, whatever these things are called. The things that you just wrap the sanding paper around. I can't think of the name right now, but these things are great. You just slap a thing on there, and I probably have to throw this out because it's been very well used. So I'm going to be using entirely scraps that I had laying around in the garage. So what I'm going to be using first is I've got this 9-inch by 4 foot, or no, that's a lot longer than 4 feet. I think it's 78-inch piece of 3/4 inch plywood. So I'm gonna need two 10-inch, two 6 3/4, and two 18 inches. And so what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna cut this down to 10 inches. After I've cut this down to 10 inches, I am going to cut, with my router here, I'm gonna do 1/4 inch grooves in here. And I'm gonna be cutting all these grooves right here, all the way across. Once I do that, I am going to take some of this 1/8 inch plywood that I have, and this is actually 6 inches wide right now. So I will cut these 9 inches long, and I've got a whole nother board of it back here. So I'm gonna cut that down to side and make shelving that will go in and out so that I can access the sandpaper. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and make the cuts, kind of show it roughly together, and then once that's done, we're going to take the router here. I'm gonna probably clamp down a piece of 2x4, use that as a guide, and do these straight lines over the 5 pieces or 4 pieces that will need the grooves. And then I'm gonna use wood glue and brad nails to throw us all together. So stay tuned and we'll see how it turns out. All right, so already ran into a slight snafu. I didn't check to see if this line was square, and it wasn't. So I'm gonna have to go back and square up those two 10-inch cuts, just so this thing isn't all jacked up. So what do they say? Measure twice, cut once. So let's get back to it. All right, I am not liking how this is turning out with the hand router, so I'm gonna go ahead and get my big router table out, get that set up, and then try to run it through that way. I'm just not getting, I mean, it's good enough, it will work, but it's just not coming out clean. So, I mean, these will go in and they will fit, but I'm just not overall happy with how it's turning out right now. So I'm gonna try it on the big router table. I think that'll be more accurate than me clamping these down and trying to trying to get these all lined up. So it'll actually be easier if I'm doing all of them at the same time. So let's get that set up and get back to it. All right, so that was fun. We've got all the grooves cut into the board here. So these will be where all of my trays slide in. I've got them all lined up here. So they are pretty much all lined up here. So now I just have to cut the small pieces here. And I'm gonna need 15 of these that will fit right in here. So as soon as I'm done with that, I can go ahead and start cutting and gluing and putting this thing all together. All right, let's cut those other pieces real quick. All right, so I've cut a few of these, but I'm gonna need a lot more. So I'm gonna have to pull out my table saw and cut 6-inch strips of this so that I can get it down to the right size. So, my GoPro's about to die. I've got it plugged in right now, but it's overheating. So I'm gonna do this off camera, get these all cut up, and then come back to it with me assembling the next part. So stay tuned. All right, so GoPro cooled down a bit. Got about 30% charge on it, so we'll be able to finish the video tonight, even with it plugged in. So what I went ahead and did is I went ahead and cut 15 of these. We've got the small 1/4-inch pieces. These will be the trays that slide in and out. While I was cutting those, I had an idea that there is not going to be a back on here. What if I pull out and they somehow slide in the back? So what I went ahead and did was I cut out a bunch of little tiny 45-degree angles on the miter saw, and then cut the exact same thing down to about 1 inch, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put these on the back of each one of the trays so that they'll slide in and out now. And then so if something does get caught in the back, this should be able to just pull it right up. So all right, so let me get the wood glue. I've already got my brad nailer out right here. So we're going to do this with glue, clamps, and brad nails and see how it turns out. So let's get to it. So definitely not the prettiest, but I think it functions perfectly well. Here is the finished project. So I've got 15 individual trays and then one giant tray in the bottom. Each one of these trays pulls out and then has a little blocker there. I'm still waiting for the glue to dry, so gonna let this sit overnight. But I will load up sandpaper in this tomorrow, or whatever other doohickeys, and then get this all set up. But yeah, that was it. Turned out pretty well. Let's see if it fits in its new home. So this is where I'm keeping all of the sandpaper currently, inside this. Let's see if I can put that there without that falling. Alright, grab this. I'm gonna cry if it's too big. There we go. Perfect. Alright. So now we can just take, let's see, this is a pack of 120 grit. And you just slide that right there. Look at that. Fits perfectly. I'm gonna have to label them. I'll probably organize them by number, so lower to higher. And I might skip a few just in case I get some different size grits. And then this is I had to cut this one down to 5.5 because I guess my math was wrong. But the 6, yeah, that's plenty of room. And then let's see the big discs. That fits right in there. Let's see my individual sanding blocks. Those will also fit right in there. So yeah, I call this a success. All right. I'm Tom, the Bearded Board Guy. Catch you next time.